Hey everybody, Rory Neary from Data Spinners here, looking at the document management app that I'm putting together over the Common Data Service. In previous sessions, well, we've done an awful lot so far, but in previous sessions we have finally got an app where we have connected to some data, but this is not an app that at this point can possibly work. So and the reason for that is because we need to run today's session where we connect the screens together. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go onto this suppliers screen here. Now at the moment, when you go through to the suppliers, it does absolutely nothing at all. It says select parent, which basically means do nothing. So what you do on that is you have to do, you have to go onto there. And to be honest, the easiest way of working these is quite often to get an app that one of these out of the box apps, because the navigation piece is very simple, but you've also got to make sure that this new supplier screen is doing what you want it to do. Now, this would theoretically mean that if you went through to there, that you're actually trying to edit the item to do an extra one. I'm not even sure if we need this, because all it does is say BT. So I'm just going to leave this for the moment just by deleting it. And what I'm going to do is use the plus button here, and I am just going to make sure that we navigate to the app correctly. So on select, navigate, where are we going to navigate to? Screen, new supplier. And then we'll do, and then we'll just do a screen transition cover. Screen transition cover just means it sort of swipes across. And the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to have to sort of start it off as a new form, which is a piece of syntax. Now you can see already that I'm going to say it's edit form 1, it might not be, and then close the brackets. So I'm going to switch this around. Now I'll leave it as it is. Now I'm just going to jump onto this screen here and just check. You can see this is called edit form 1, but really you've got to rename these things. FRM new supplier. Now the great thing about Power Apps is it will actually respect the fact that you've changed it. So on the screen suppliers here, if we go onto the plus, it says screen new supplier cover. And what that means is that when we hit the plus button, we will move through to this here, and we'll have an opportunity to create a new supplier. Now this life area thing needs to be a selection from the options that are available in our life areas. So no doubt there's better ways of doing this, but yeah, this is the way I've chosen. So okay, right. So because we've actually done this as a a blank app, there's loads of things that the people at Power Apps have done that are really good that I haven't got in my app as yet. And so what I need to do is make sure that those things are in place. So if I hit the plus button, in fact you can actually see that it doesn't even refresh it, which is great. So I am just going to go onto here, and what I'm going to do is I am going to change the way in which that it submits. So I'm going to go on to when I hit that, submit form supplier. On this data source here, I'm going to do this on success, and I'm going to do a back. That's fine. That'll work. And then I'm going to do reset form new supplier. I think that should do the trick, because we've got a bit of latent information here that I really don't want. So I am going to just test that out. So I need to make sure I'm sort of navigating from here and go on to that, and I'm going to hit the plus button, and let's put me out of home, that's fine, I'm okay with that. Test supplier, and we are going to do the OK. So what we should find on that is that it will do it, and it'll actually take us back to the previous screen. Ta-da! And the bizarre thing about this is when it does it, it actually does some kind of weird refresh on the. So I think what we need to do is to make this so that when it does it, it actually refreshes this particular this data set. So what I'm going to do on that is I'll make that part of the on success item. Okay, that has actually worked, which is good. On success, and I'm going to do refresh, and there aren't that many things for us to refresh, and we're going to refresh the suppliers and then do that. That should do the trick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come off that. Of course that does nothing either, so I'm going to make that a back button. That's back there. So that it actually does that. Yeah, good. And I'm actually going to put this as a refresh button, so refresh suppliers, but strictly speaking we shouldn't actually need it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new item, create there, and I'll put it as, just keep putting them in as home. Supplier name ABCD, and then hit the submit item. So what it should do is go back and do a refresh. Awesome, that's great. Now I suppose I really ought to have the ability to delete one of these items, because there are some that I don't actually need because they're complete garbage, but that's possibly for another day. It's one of the things that you would get out of the box if you were to create an app straight from as a phone app. And I don't have these sorts of things in place at the moment, but there are sort of health warnings to just having buttons that delete things anyway. So let's just roll with this for the moment. So I have successfully connected those up. I don't have the ability to delete them at the moment, but I'm not too fussed. And I also know this is browse gallery 1. These names aren't really that helpful. So I'm going to do GLRY, and I'm going to call this supplier. Good. And let's perform new supplier. It's going to move down to the documents, onto the document screen, and then rename that GLRY documents. Good. Now I think that the exercise where we do the documents is going to be quite a bit harder than what we've done so far. Hopefully you're all still with me on this. I think what I'm going to do is I am going to go onto this landing page here, and I'm just going to make this a little bit nicer. Well, maybe just keep it simple to start with, but we will make this so that it's quite a nice screen. So I'm just working out if this is in the right vein for this sort of video. Probably not. In which case I'll do that on a different video. So I've got a new supplier. That's great. I think that's working fine. It's good enough for me. And then we've got our documents. So what I think we want to do is we want to go onto this screen suppliers, and we do actually need a navigation, because the whole point of this navigation is so that we can get to the documents, because otherwise why would we do this? So I'm going to go insert icons, and I'm just going to do the simple arrow to the right, because that's consistent with the rest of Power Apps. So I'll go on there. On select it'll do nothing, but it will make it go to navigate SCR it's new. No, it's not new supplier at all. Supplier, SCR suppliers, lovely. That's probably just going to go to itself. It's SCR documents. So that should give us all of our documents, and we'll do a cover. In fact, that should be a comma. And then that will navigate us through. And this is where we start to sort of get into some interesting areas, because what we want to do is we actually want to filter the documents list according to the supplier. And of course we don't actually have any documents at the moment, so that's always fun. So what we are going to do is we're still going to put that navigation should still work. Good, moves us on, but what we have at the moment is that we have no documents at all. What I'm going to do on this though is, before I'm too much older, I am going to make I'm just going to go onto the properties here. Just need to make sure that we're going to look on this screen here, and we're going to do filter my documents where the supplier name equals GLRY, and this is why having these names is helpful. Dot selected dot supplier name, expect supplier name. Okay, good. And what that'll do is it'll filter it down to the one that I've selected. That's the whole point. Sadly, the fact we have none in here doesn't help life too much. But that is the name of the game. This arrow at the moment, I will take it out actually for the moment, because that seems like the right thing to do. So there's definitely plenty more things to do. Let's call this, let's put text on there, and we'll do, let's just call it documents. Documents. Good. And we'll take it from there. That looks okay. There is no back button, I notice, on here, which is really annoying if you're trying to actually do things. So we really need to pop something in there. So we're going to go insert, icons, and I actually quite like the one. Let's do the arrow, because they actually scale quite well. Interesting enough, I don't quite know how it decided what the colour would be, but we'll do colour, and we're going to go with white. There's all sort of text formatting that is done on this, but I'm going to leave it. It's, we probably need that a weeny bit smaller, and then we do the on select property on select, and then we'll do a back. Good, which is fine. This will be complete. I think we fixed that up on a previous one, so that's fine. So we have kind of sewn this together. It's not awful. I'm not too sure why I would want to have a refresh on this. There's no external. It's all going to happen in app, so that's fine. I'm not really that bothered about the sorting up and down, given I've got a search thing, and actually there won't be that many per supplier, so I'm going to leave that for the moment. I can always copy one in, and I'm probably just going to swap these two over. I'm sure there's better ways of laying this out, but that's what I've got at the moment. In fact, it looks kind of strange, but we'll go with it. So we have connected this app up. We definitely don't have a document screen that works. And I think in the next session we'll just do something that's just a little bit simpler, where we kind of work on the landing page. So we'll go with that. Okay, thanks everyone, and yeah, hope you're finding this interesting. And you know, this is probably one of the more complex apps that I've done, certainly on Common Data Service. So I think that some of the challenges are unique to that. So okay, thanks everyone, bye.